Can you share any insights into your creative process and how you bring your ideas to life?
One is be like a sponge. And by that I mean it's like, in my spare time, I watch movies, I read books, I play games. I read a lot of nonfiction as well. So I'm just trying to absorb as many kind of ideas and interesting concepts that I find in life. And usually the stuff that's the juiciest for me are things that feels interesting philosophical questions where I don't quite know the answer to. Those are usually the ideas that excite me the most that I want to explore through art. So then, again, I try to keep as much of an open mind as possible. So I do a lot of brainstorming. So sometimes it's on my own. I'll have notebooks usually wherever I'm at. And if an idea comes, I just write it down because it's like I like just getting it out of my head to free up space for like the subconscious to work. So I'll do a lot of brainstorms on my own of like what in this moment in the game, what could happen? And any idea, it doesn't matter how bad it is. If it comes to my head, I have to write it down. And that just keeps me like the gears greased and moving. And I find that the more I do that, the more I get like more original ideas. Or again, the first few ideas are usually cliches or things that are very obvious. And it takes a while to dig to get to the non-obvious stuff. And then with that same mentality, I'll brainstorm with another individual, whether it's a co-writer or a game director, see what they bring to the table. Because, they have different upbringing, different background. So usually they're seeing things through a different lens. And then the next step is to do like a group brainstorm of like really kind of like seeing what kind of ideas can we generate as a group, and then start testing our ideas. And then I guess what I'm looking for, especially when we make something brand new, like when we're making The Last of Us, is where can we find constraints? Like what are things that we could pin down that start eliminating a swath of ideas? Because when you could do everything, it's hard to come up with just anything because you could just be overwhelmed with choice. So I want to just eliminate certain choices. So to say, okay, our focus should now be just here in this much more narrow band. It's still going to have infinite number of ideas, but now the brainstorming is becoming more and more focused. And sometimes those constraints will be like because creatively we want to do a particular thing. Sometimes the constraint is because we only have this much time and this many people to work on it. So there's just a production constraint, sometimes a technological limit. But anywhere I could find a constraint that I could just pin stuff down and help move the team in a particular direction, I love finding that stuff as early as possible. And then become much more focused. And the deeper we're going to a project, just that kind of like thinking, keeping an open mind, letting the best idea win, no matter where it comes from, I think that's the recipe that has worked for us towards making great games.